Alex Palou has won everything in IndyCar for the past 3 years. But what if I told you this year, the championship genuinely feels open? Alex Palou held the championship lead for 623 days prior to this season, and won last year by almost 200 points. But I can see 3 drivers breathing down his neck with a very real opportunity to win with 8 races to go. These 3 guys aren't just saying if Palou fumbles, they're ready to take advantage. They're genuinely ready to win, and have shown it thus far. Each of them aren't just having good seasons, they have an actual path to the crown. Paths that didn't seem to exist not too long ago. So is this the year finally someone cracks the Palou code? Now, speaking of Alex Palou, if you haven't been too tapped into IndyCar, let me break him down for you. Alex Palou is a 4-time champion in IndyCar, winning in 2021, 2023, 2024, and 2025. After joining the series in 2020. He's dominated the past few years, showing very few mistakes, as well as extremely high highs, to pretty much make it impossible to beat him. Through a mix of sticking it in the Fast 6 on almost every weekend, and finishing in the top 10 pretty much every time he doesn't DNF, leading the championship or even closing the gap to him in points has been nearly impossible for anyone else. In 2026, I'm not going to say Palou has faltered, because honestly, he looks just as unstoppable. It's more that others have picked up the pace quite a bit. Palou lost that 623-day lead this year in Phoenix as a result of a DNF due to a crash with Rinus VeeKay, and since then, he did regain the lead and currently stands 60 points ahead of second, more than a race win. But I will say, his car seems less dominant this time around. The 10 team at Ganassi goes hand in hand with success, and they've nailed it at pretty much every outing on the IndyCar calendar. But with 3 competitors I'm going to mention being from 3 different teams, the gap has closed quite a bit. Palou still dominates sessions and controls the lead from pole, but it doesn't nearly feel like as much of a turn on the TV expecting Palou to win the race sort of deal. As I mentioned, he still holds the lead and is in the driver's seat to bring it home, and with pressure mounting, I'm sure he'll only get better. So the challengers need to contest now if they want a chance to deny the 4-peat. Anyways, the first challenger to step up to the plate is our most recent race winner, Christian Lundgaard. For those unfamiliar, Lundgaard was a driver in F2 who made his way to IndyCar, won a race with Rahal Letterman Lanigan in Toronto in 2023, and moved to Arrow McLaren last year, where he's been one of the most formidable road course drivers. Last year was his breakthrough where he finished 5th in the standings, and even though there was no win there, he got 6 podiums, and he showed he had what it took to be at the top. This year, he's taken another step above that, claiming his first victory in Papaya earlier at the IMS road course, and almost winning it at Barber earlier this year. He's been much more consistent this year and has been a fan favorite to contest for the title, being the leading McLaren in the standings. Now, one thing that's very important to notice is that the races where Lundgaard has prospered this year, Barber, IMS, and Road America, are all road courses, and where that is a strong point, it brings weak points elsewhere. Through this year, if you take average placement at each track type, Lundgaard's average on road courses is 1.33, on streets it's 8.75, and on ovals it's 13.33. The numbers don't lie, and ovals are a big glaring weakness. The street course number also looks a bit worse, but it includes Long Beach where he finished 20th, which is a huge outlier that brings the average down. Now, on the bright side, ovals don't make up too much of the remaining calendar, with the only ones being the 2 Milwaukee Mile races, which historically is actually Lundgaard's best oval performance-wise. And with 3 road courses, it's not looking too bad. As a whole, Christian Lundgaard does have a real shot, and he's shown that since moving into McLaren machinery, which is proven to be an upgrade over the RLL machine, and he can realistically compete on any given weekend. At the moment, I don't think it's crazy to say that Christian Lundgaard is the most complete road and street course driver outside of the camp at Ganassi, and if he can minimize the gap at ovals, which there are a few of, he has a real chance of getting a distance of the title this year, and if not, he'll definitely be in the conversation next year. But at the same time, one bad oval weekend is the difference between getting up to Palou and falling out of contention. So a pretty perfect rest of the year is needed as he stands at a 77-point gap between him and Palou. Now going sequentially up in the standings, standing 61 points behind Palou, and currently 3rd in the championship, is Kyle Kirkwood. Now the thing with Kyle Kirkwood is not just that he's labeled to be a championship contender this year, but he was kind of put in that place last year as well, as the direct competitor to Alex Palou. Speaking of last year, 2025 really showed Kirkwood's genuine development as he progressed from being a street circuit god to finding 3 wins and being extremely consistent in the front half of the year. Coming into this year, the start was actually really good as well, even better than 2025. In the first 5 races of the season, he top 5'd all of them, including a win at the new race in Arlington. The problem is, since then, the performance has been a smidge lower. Looking from the start of May until now, Kirkwood only managed 1 top 5, being a 2nd in Detroit, with the other results being 3 top 10s and a 16th at the Indy 500. This actually is very similar to 2025, where Kirkwood did extremely well in the first half of the season, and then he didn't get a top 10 from round 10 onwards. By the looks of it, Kirkwood's results seem to be extremely momentum-based, and he goes into spurts of doing very well, and then spurts of results that aren't that bad, but not title-contending numbers. When it comes to the machinery over at Andretti, the Honda engines have been good, which we can see in Alex Palou as Ganassi uses them too. But when it comes to ovals, they kind of just struggle with the setup. But it's not necessarily that they always do bad, it's more that it just seems to be very volatile. They have results like Gateway last year where Kirkwood took victory on an oval, and Phoenix this year where he took 2nd. But you also have to look at the 500 this year with a 16th, and Iowa last year where he finished 26th and 18th. We know Kirkwood and Andretti are more than capable, but the lack of consistency is the real struggle. From a realistic standpoint, Kirkwood has the most genuine potential to beat Alex Palou because on his day, he does look unstoppable. But the problem is getting there. Going into the second half of the season, if Kirkwood can break the pattern he's had in the past of falling off in the end of the year, he really can take home the crown. But with high pressure and having to be pretty near perfect to close the gap in points, how possible is it? Now for the final name of the 3, and probably the most interesting, it's David Malukas. Malukas is the most interesting because of him just being a wild card, because while the other 2 guys have had race wins and being at their teams for a bit, Malukas sits 2nd in the standings above both of them, with no race wins to his name and it being his first year at Penske, and any top team for that matter. After being dropped on his head by McLaren, which honestly seems to be a blessing in disguise, and rebuilding at Shank and Foyt, he earned his way to the Penske seat off of talent, and they offer what no other team can. Penske is known for winning, and they're specifically dominant on ovals, which is a switch up from the other guys I mentioned. At the start of the season, I'll be honest, I had my doubts, not because I thought Malukas was bad, but I just didn't expect him to be so good so fast. Earlier this year at Barber marked his first top 5 at a road course and his first pole in Phoenix. Since then, he's racked up 3 second places in 5 races and sits 60 points behind Alex Palou in just his first season with Penske. Although he hasn't grasped that win yet, he drives like he has a bunch of them, and he really does have the best chance to beat Alex Palou. If Penske returns to full competitiveness, Malukas is the guy at the team that's performing the best right now, and under optimal circumstances, Penske as a team has the most potential to match Ganassi everywhere in the calendar, and even outdo them on some occasions. With that too, Malukas has shown that he is a lot more versatile than many people assumed, now getting 2nd places on both ovals and road courses this season, and getting a 6th and 7th on street courses, respectively at Arlington and Long Beach. The biggest vulnerability though for Malukas is just simply inexperience. Being a first-year guy at Penske and being the points leader for the team thus far is nothing to scoff at, but you can't lie, there just has to be uncertainty there because we've never seen him in this scenario. Now from the perspective of Alex Palou, this is still in his control. Even though all 3 of these guys are making a push, he holds a 60-point lead, and at the end of the day, he still is Alex Palou. Now he necessarily can't afford to have as many bad weekends, which will mostly consist of any DNFs, especially if all 3 guys start firing on all cylinders. The mathematical reality though is that if all of these 3 guys are doing well, then it lowers the chance of one winning. The likely outcome is that 1 or 2 drivers will emerge as gaining on Palou, or none of them will, but regardless, it'll be a good watch. My genuine rankings on how well I think these challengers will do, going from most likely to least likely, of David Malukas, Christian Lundgaard, then Kyle Kirkwood, mostly stemming off of most versatile and in form given what's coming in the rest of the year. Given the information, what do you think? Is Palou just going to sweep the competition again? Or is there hope that someone else can break the 4-peat?